So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country.
In a stunning showdown that has Washington, D.C. buzzing, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett unleashed a verbal nuclear strike on billionaire Elon Musk and President Donald Trump during a fiery congressional hearing that left viewers speechless and social media ablaze. "We not going to stop talking about him," Crockett declared with the confidence of someone holding a royal flush. "We going to keep talking about him until he is out of here." The Texas firebrand didn't just come with opinions. She arrived armed with a meticulously crafted arsenal of cold, hard facts that left Musk and Trump scrambling for cover as she methodically dismantled their carefully constructed public images on national television. In what insiders are calling the most explosive congressional testimony of the year, Crockett went straight for the jugular, questioning how America's richest man suddenly found himself making decisions that affect millions of American lives without a single vote being cast in his favor. We're talking about someone who's unelected, unvetted, and definitely unconfirmed that is now literally sitting atop our $6 trillion. Crockett thundered, her voice rising with each devastating point. "We don't know what it is that he's doing, and we honestly don't know what role he has." Sources close to Trump reveal the former president was left fuming after watching Crockett's testimony, reportedly pacing the halls of Mar-a-Lago and demanding staff explain who this woman thinks she is. While frantically calling allies to develop a counter-strategy, Trump was practically purple with rage, confided one Mar-a-Lago insider who witnessed the meltdown firsthand. He kept rewinding and replaying her comments, getting angrier each time. At one point, he threw his phone across the room and screamed that nobody talks about my friend Elon that way. The source, who requested anonymity for fear of retaliation, added that Trump immediately ordered his social media team to draft a series of responses, rejecting the first 7 versions for not being tough enough on the Congresswoman. In perhaps the most bizarre twist in this already shocking saga, Crockett called out Musk's wildly inflammatory claims that the Biden administration had been sending condoms to Gaza as part of humanitarian aid packages. He sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying and he was using his propaganda machine to do it, Crockett revealed, sending shockwaves through the hearing room. When he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms, that was a lie. The stunning revelation left committee members visibly stunned, with several Republican representatives reportedly seen checking their phones as Crockett continued her relentless offensive against the world's richest man. Body language experts who analyzed footage of the hearing noted that Crockett's directness clearly caught GOP committee members off guard. You can see at least 3 representatives physically recoiling when she directly called Musk a liar, explained Dr. Marsha Levine, a political communications specialist. They weren't prepared for someone to be that blunt about a billionaire they've been careful to appease. An anonymous source familiar with Musk's reaction claims the Tesla CEO was beside himself after watching the clip, demanding his communications team craft a response that wouldn't further damage his already tarnished public image. Elon was absolutely livid, revealed a tech industry insider with connections to Musk's inner circle. He kept saying, "Who does she think she is, and doesn't she know who I am?" over and over. His team was walking on eggshells, trying to calm him down while he ranted about how he could buy and sell her whole congressional district. The source added that Musk immediately summoned his legal team to explore options for retaliation, only to be advised that Crockett's statements were protected by congressional immunity and that any direct attack would likely backfire. Cryptocurrency experts quickly piled on, with many pointing out that Crockett had exposed one of Musk's most controversial market manipulations. What makes her Dogecoin call-out so devastating is that it's absolutely true, explained financial analyst Derek Morrison. Musk repeatedly used his platform to drive up Dogecoin prices, then went silent while regular investors lost billions when values plummeted. Crockett didn't stop at Musk's cryptocurrency games. In a particularly stinging segment of her testimony, she referred to the billionaire as a human Tesla fire hazard and questioned the safety record of his vaunted electric vehicle company. This is the man who somehow convinced millions that he's a genius while simultaneously failing to make cars that don't randomly catch on fire or drive straight into parked ambulances. Crockett declared, referencing multiple high-profile incidents involving Tesla's autopilot technology. Automotive industry watchers immediately recognized the reference to several documented cases of Tesla vehicles bursting into flames or autopilot systems failing to recognize emergency vehicles, problems that Musk has repeatedly downplayed despite growing safety concerns. What made this particular attack so effective is that it undermined Musk's core brand identity as a technological genius, explained marketing consultant Sophia Wang. By highlighting specific documented failures of Tesla's most hyped features, she struck at the heart of his carefully cultivated public image. Transportation safety advocates quickly amplified Crockett's comments, with several organizations issuing statements calling for increased scrutiny of Tesla's autopilot systems and battery safety protocols. While Musk took the brunt of Crockett's initial assault, former President Trump wasn't spared from her laser-focused dissection. In a methodical breakdown that left viewers gasping, Crockett systematically highlighted Trump's long history of business catastrophes. "This is the man who bankrupted a casino," one congressional staffer was overheard saying after the hearing. She didn't have to embellish anything, just stating the facts about his business record was devastating enough. From Trump University to Trump Vodka, no failed venture was left unmentioned, as Crockett painted a damning portrait of a businessman whose real talent appears to be marketing failure as success, a skill that ultimately carried him to the White House despite a trail of financial disasters. Trump University, don't even get me started, Crockett remarked, referring to the former president's defunct education company that settled a $25 million fraud lawsuit. It was a scam so elaborate it makes the plot of Ocean's 11 look like child's play. Business analysts noted that Crockett's breakdown of Trump's failed ventures was particularly effective because it contrasted so sharply with his self-promoted image as a business genius. What's remarkable is how comprehensive her knowledge of his failures was, noted business historian Caroline Matthews. She mentioned ventures many Americans have forgotten about: Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, Trump Vodka, building a devastating pattern of failure that's hard to dismiss as coincidence. Former Trump Organization employees reportedly exchanged hundreds of messages as the testimony went viral, with several expressing amazement at Crockett's detailed knowledge of internal business failures that rarely received public attention. In her most serious accusation, Crockett suggested that Musk's influence over the former president could pose an existential threat to American democracy itself. Business analysts noted that Crockett's breakdown of Trump's failed ventures was particularly effective because it contrasted so sharply with his self-promoted image as a business genius. What's remarkable is how comprehensive her knowledge of his failures was, noted business historian Caroline Matthews. She mentioned ventures many Americans have forgotten about: Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, Trump Vodka, building a devastating pattern of failure that's hard to dismiss as coincidence. Former Trump Organization employees reportedly exchanged hundreds of messages as the testimony went viral, with several expressing amazement at Crockett's detailed knowledge of internal business failures that rarely received public attention. In her most serious accusation, Crockett suggested that Musk's influence over the former president could pose an existential threat to American democracy itself. I want some analysis behind what it is that he is recommending to the president or to anyone else that is engaging in what I feel like is more so a dismantling of our modern-day democratic republic, Crockett demanded, her voice carrying the weight of the historic moment. The bombshell statement sent immediate ripples through political circles, with Democratic strategists reportedly scrambling to amplify her message, while Republican operatives went into damage control mode. Constitutional scholars quickly weighed in, with several noting the unprecedented nature of an unelected billionaire having such direct access to governmental power. What Congresswoman Crockett highlighted is a genuine constitutional concern, explained Dr. James Harrington, professor of constitutional law at Georgetown University. The founders never envisioned private citizens with enormous wealth having direct control over governmental functions without any form of democratic accountability. Civil liberties organizations issued statements of concern within hours of Crockett's testimony, with several announcing plans to file Freedom of Information Act requests seeking details about Musk's exact role in governmental decision-making. Perhaps most alarmingly, Crockett raised serious questions about why Musk would need unprecedented access to the federal government's payment systems, access that even elected members of Congress don't possess. The people that worked in those positions could only distribute money per the law, Crockett explained with surgical precision. So why is it that the Doge Committee would have to have access? Her pointed questions expose the bizarre arrangement that has given Musk extraordinary visibility into government financial operations despite having no official governmental role, security clearance, or oversight. And that's not the place that you go to look for cuts, she continued, further dismantling the stated rationale for Musk's unusual access. You look at our budget, which it is Congress that has the power of the purse. Financial oversight experts immediately recognize the significance of Crockett's revelations. What she's describing would be unprecedented in modern governance, explained former Treasury Department official Marcus Johnson. The idea that a private citizen, especially one with vast business interests potentially affected by government spending, would have direct access to federal payment systems raises enormous ethical and security concerns. Government watchdog groups announced plans to investigate the arrangement further, with several calling for immediate congressional hearings specifically focused on Musk's access to sensitive financial systems. In one of her most technically damning accusations, Crockett highlighted the complete absence of security protocols surrounding Musk's newfound governmental influence. Normally, when you are going to be in a position like that, you have to go through security clearances, Crockett explained. And let me tell you, some people think security clearances are all about whether or not you have a warrant or not. No, they look at whether or not you have some sort of divided interest. They look at whether or not you have good credit. They look at so many other things. National security experts immediately recognized the significance of this point, with several former intelligence officials expressing alarm at the apparent bypassing of standard vetting procedures. What Congresswoman Crockett highlighted is genuinely concerning from a national security perspective, explained former CIA analyst Jennifer Matthews. Security clearances exist precisely to prevent individuals with conflicts of interest or vulnerability to foreign influence from accessing sensitive governmental systems. The fact that someone with Musk's complex international business interests apparently received access without standard vetting is extraordinary. Former Defense Department officials noted that Musk's extensive business dealings with China and other foreign governments would typically trigger extensive background investigations before granting any form of governmental access. In a moment of raw emotion that humanized the high-stakes political theater, Crockett revealed her upcoming birthday wish in a statement that immediately went viral. On March 29th, it's my birthday, and all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. The candid admission prompted an outpouring of support from progressive voters nationwide, with Crockett birthday wish trending within hours of the hearing's conclusion. Conservatives were quick to paint Crockett's motivations as purely personal, but Democratic allies pushed back forcefully, arguing that her concerns about unelected billionaires wielding governmental power transcend partisan politics. What makes Crockett so effective is that she personalizes her political battles, explained political strategist Michael Reynolds. By framing this as something she personally wants for her birthday, she transformed a complex constitutional issue into something relatable and human.
Hey y'all, so it's Rep Crockett and I am a part of your rapid response team from the House Dems. I know a lot of you probably have questions about the decision that came down from Judge Tanya Chuckin as it relates to reining old Elon in. I don't know if y'all had a chance to keep up with what was going on, but let me get y'all up to speed. So first, the lawsuit was brought by various Democratic attorney generals throughout this country, and they were suing because they say that the powers that have been exerted by Elon Musk are illegal. Okay, let me just insert this really quickly. I absolutely agree with them. They know what they're talking about. But what happened is the judge said, listen, I've got grave concerns, which I think she's signaling and saying this foolishness that Musk is up to, it must stop. To the extent that the White House and the DOJ are like, oh, Mr. Musk, that Mr. Musk. Oh, yeah. By the way, yeah, he doesn't have any power. Yeah, that's what they're arguing. So I don't know who's lying, but somebody lying. And I hope it's not these lawyers under oath, because one thing that Donald Trump doesn't control is actually these bars that give us our licenses, okay? So in short, the Trump administration basically says that Elon Musk is nothing more than a glorified pool boy. Just a little errand boy who's out there to, I don't know. Really, it just seems like they just like to play at Mar-a-Lago or play wherever they play together. I don't know. They always together because, Elon. Anyway, that's all the issue. The reason that I believe the attorney generals were having a hard time meeting the standard as laid out under the law, where they could say that there was imminent and irreparable harm that we were about to face, is this idea of we don't really know what they're doing. Because Elon still ain't came in to see us, right? He ain't came in for no oversight, right? And when we went to go see what they were up to, remember, every building we've gone to, they have somehow decided that we were going to be locked out. Now, that don't sound strange. I mean, if you over here and you doing everything to help the people, then why won't you let the people that actually oversee all of this, why don't you want to let us in? I personally believe that ultimately, if they continue down this road, that they are going to lose in this particular court. But as of right now, because they just all over the place and nobody knows what Elon is up to or not up to, because they talking out of both sides of their mouths, she was like, I can't give you the temporary restraining order. But hopefully we can get this case resolved quickly. Hopefully they can engage in some form of discovery so that we can discover what you've been up to, boo.